Dave, what were some of the key takeaways from the digital transformation breakfast that you led at IAFP this year?
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, we were able to get some folks together on a panel. Some of the people that have been the early adopters of digital automation for their food safety testing and sanitation programs. And I led off the session sharing some data that we collected from a survey that was conducted in conjunction with Abigail Snyder, Dr. Abby Snyder from Cornell, who presented a session on best practices and what to do with your environmental testing data. 153 food safety professionals responded to this. And the first question that we asked was just tell us about the biggest challenges that you're having with food safety testing. And profoundly, respondents came back and said, look, it's really just figuring out what to do with all this data. We don't know. We have difficulty reporting and interpreting this information, training our staff on how to do this. And the result of that is we have a slow time to information. Mike Gross from Cafe Valley Bakery joined us. He's the VP of Food Safety and Quality there. And at the session, he shared some of the transformative results of their team moving to digital automation.
Having the ability to put into the system where you can go in and put in as many sites as you want, because it made it easy, our technicians, people doing the swabs, really got enthusiastic because they really got into the process. And we ended up with over 1,000 sites. But as a manager, I'm sitting back looking at the final reports and saying, okay, what's our presumptives and where are they happening? And comes up, I've got great pictures of the sites and stuff. What I didn't realize until I started digging into it a little bit, I forget what the trigger was, but the crew was so enthusiastic because it was so easy to deal with this data load that they had gone so far as to split drains to the north side of the drain versus the south side of the drain.
Dave, did the members of the panel share their journey going from analog to digital?
It's a great question, Dan. And one of the survey findings led into that discussion. We talked about just the level of digitized data that exists within testing programs. And those same survey respondents came back and told us resoundingly that almost half of them are still mostly or entirely paper-based today. So the movement there is slow. But Leanne Ford, who heads up food safety for post-consumer brands, was on the panel, and she made some interesting comments about their experience.
There's less touches that have to be there. You don't need someone, I remember you had to come up with the schedule in the manual format. You had to come up with a schedule, the man hours it took for somebody to come up with the schedule for the next month of what swabbing is and make sure everything was planned out every week for the technicians to do. You don't really have to do that anymore.
Dave, one of the things we hear from customers is about the impact that digitization can have on the visibility of information across the enterprise. Is that something that was touched on by the panel?
It was, Dan, and it was interesting how we got there, because one of the other data points that we shared from the survey was looking at the amount of time that organizations are spending just on reporting and developing reports for leadership. And we found that almost half of respondents are spending at least 2 hours each day doing this. And as we dug into this, we found that it's really the manual processes that exist in organizations where information is in spreadsheets, it's in 3-ring binders and COAs, it's sitting over on someone's desktop, and bringing all that together takes time. Kim Simpson from McCormick Foods really summed it up well in describing the experience that they've had as it digitized information and how that has helped them to communicate with leadership.
Looking at our programs, our manual type programs, and seeing what we could do better, really. How can we make these programs more visible to our leadership, We talk about data, right? How can we get the analytics, not even at a specific plant, but how can we enterprise-wide start looking at analytics and seeing if there's trends, not only within one single facility, but in our facilities from a regional and global standpoint.